Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And all the way visiting from New Zealand, we got Ron back in the studio.
What's happening?
Was Jackie Pendergrass hanging out in New Zealand? Did he hop over there?
Jackie Pendergrass
From Australia? Little Jackie Pendergrass come visit you?
Yeah, we had a couple of pints at the Crafty Trout.
Tell you, Ron, these Kiwis, they know how to make some beer. They know how to make some beer.
Boy, do they.
And Ron, we're gonna stay on task today because Ron's Mr. Business. He's got a conference call.
It's the American way.
So that we can find out where he's going to in the world next.
Right.
Really quick. Yeah. Although this was pleasure.
Yeah,
correct?
New Zealand was a vacation over Thanksgiving. So I left the Friday before Thanksgiving and got home the Monday after. So
Rough life.
yeah, and that essentially means I mountain biked, caved, mountain climbed, whitewater rafted.
Drink some beer.
I drank a bunch of
Did you meet any werewolves, not swearwolves?
No, but I was I talked about that to a few people.
Please
that
watch the
met.
movie What We Do in the Shadows, a New
I still need to
Zealand
see that. Yeah,
New Zealand faux documentary about
so
vampires. So good.
So good. So yeah, every new place I was, I tried a different beer.
I'm sorry, I just chewed ice to the microphone. It was really rude. I apologize. Go ahead.
No worries.
I heard it in my head. Oh God, that was awful. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's not a mute, but
And look at
that's
Ferris
not.
over here.
I don't
You
hear
let
that
Ron
sound.
talk. God,
Mr. Ice Chewer over there.
jeez, so rude.
So the New Zealand craft beer scene is ridiculous. It's incredible. Everywhere you go are phenomenal beers made by some really fun, interesting characters. I brought so much booze home.
And did they follow Premier League there?
So
I know they do in Australia.
A-League?
they follow mostly the A-League, and then there is a New Zealand league that has like Perth, or not Perth. The name's failing me at
Like
the moment.
Auckland and
Yeah, there's one for Auckland. There's one for Rotorua. There's one for Taupo. There's one for Gisborne, Hawke's Bay. So there's all these different teams that are in the New Zealand league. But I did get to see there was Premier League on, so I got to see that. So
Well, what time of the day was it on over there for you?
What, 8 hours? 8 hours different from
here?
No, from England, because it's
kind of overnight, right?
England's 5 hours ahead of us now because of
Yeah.
daylight savings being
Correct.
over.
Yeah.
And then, okay,
So it was 14 from the East Coast.
Gotcha.
So it was about 8 from there. And also huge American football following. There was a Thursday night game on
So can we relocate the Brewtiful Game to New Zealand then?
in a heartbeat.
Like a bad idea to me.
We can include American football and New
In
Zealand
a
soccer.
heartbeat.
As long as we get to meet Jackie Pendergrass.
We got to hop over the water to go.
Yeah, you're going to have to go take a 4-hour
It's
plane ride.
nearer to Jackie.
So real quick, before we get into the beer, because I brought a ton of beer, I got presents.
Ooh.
And last week we did, well, not last week, but our last episode 2 weeks ago, we did Australian beers.
Right.
Aussie.
So this is pretty
Wait,
cool.
wait. So this is for Ferris.
Oh,
And that is
ooh, this
for
feels
Blake.
like a kit of some sort.
What?
What is this?
Dude,
Oh, what a sweet looking
New
kit.
Zealand football kit.
Yeah, so they're not
solid black. That's
with the
awesome.
silver fern on the side, and then the Southern Cross constellation on the back. So the New Zealand international
I'm
team
wearing this to work tomorrow.
is actually called the All Whites, not the All Blacks.
That's the rugby.
That's only rugby.
Right.
Right.
wow.
Cricket is the All Caps. So they have all these different names, and it was actually really difficult to find New Zealand football
So it's
kits.
just their national teams.
That's
football.
the national kit,
Yeah.
the current national kit.
What's the leaf that's on this?
So the fern is the national plant of New Zealand, and that's the one you see on the All Blacks kits.
right. So
Right.
I like that it's on the sleeves. It's got like a faded,
Yeah.
like several of them in a row.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And that's actually the underside. So the reason they're called the all whites is because the underside of the plant is white.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know
So
that.
like when you are lost in the woods, you rip a part of that fern down and put it white side up, and it'll glow in the flashlight when they're trying to rescue you at night. Like, I learned so much cool stuff.
And that's how Jackie Pendergrass's rescuing process.
Absolutely.
The helicopter comes over and finds you.
It does.
Yep.
So these guys are called the all whites. There's another fern that has like a more dark black color under it, and that is all blacks.
So that's where the
So that's
rugby-
where all the
Gosh,
yeah,
I
that's where
would
all
say
comes
that
from.
Ron got the All Blacks rugby bib for my baby for her 1-year-old birthday. It's pretty awesome.
that's
They're
awesome.
pretty sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, and I happened to get myself one of those kits that you're looking at there, but I also had to get an All Blacks kit. So
Oh,
I did.
yeah,
Absolutely.
man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's rugby. That's New Zealand.
Yeah.
Haka. Like,
Right.
That's-
and the first so
dude, this is awesome.
It's a sweet
Yeah.
kit.
So I landed, and then I was waiting for a friend. So I hopped down the road to a bar, and while I was there, I watched the All Blacks take on Ireland. They ended up losing, but I got to watch some rugby live with a whole bunch of silly, weird New Zealands. It was so great. We had a good time drinking, and I learned a lot of the rules, which was pretty fun. So now I actually really understand rugby. Good times. So there you go, guys.
Well, so then I'm going to have to sit down and watch rugby with you.
Yeah.
Ferris was trying to take a picture of the jersey and it wasn't working.
No, it worked.
Oh, there we go.
I was trying to do the fancy portrait mode, and then it was like move further away, closer away. So then I'm just moving the phone back and forth like I could play the video over here.
Well, I'm not going to let Apple keep sponsoring us if they keep sending us such shoddy equipment.
All right.
Apple does not sponsor us.
No, but if they do, and you're out, please, thank you. It would be much appreciated.
I feel like Ireland beating New Zealand in rugby, that's a big deal.
Yeah, 12-6. 12-6?
Wow.
Yeah.
You got to sit down and explain to me. Do you remember when ESPN 3 was a thing? It was like only on the Xbox,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we would watch Aussie Rules football.
Right.
Yeah.
Different
Crazy.
than
Which-
rugby.
Which looks literally, if you've never seen it, Aussie Rules football looks like a soccer pitch, American football, and rugby had a baby.
Yeah, and the field is kind
Huge.
of ovular.
Yeah, but I'd say soccer pitch is it's bigger than an NFL
Yeah.
field. It's a really big field. But you look at it, it looks like rugby, but it kind of is like American football. It's cool.
Right.
But rugby, I've never sat down and anyone explain it to me.
Yeah, I sat down in this bar while, waiting for my friend to get in, and it was so cool. These people just, the people doing the haka with the people, with the players. It was so great. That's so great.
There was someone sharing on social media recently, like a little bitty girl doing the haka, watching on TV. It's so great.
Oh, it's so fun. So much fun. So I brought a whole bunch of beers back. So tonight we will do some beers from a phenomenal brewery. And an interesting thing is when you go to the beer store, so in New Zealand, they're not called beer stores, they're called bottle shops. And you can buy either a 6-pack, a single bottle. It's whatever you want. You can mix, you can do whatever. So this one brewery that kept showing up all over the place, they had a variety pack. And their variety packs in New Zealand have 6 individual different beers.
Take notes, Sierra Nevada. I love you, but I hate your variety packs.
Amen.
I don't need 2 of the regular Sierra Nevada in them.
Right. Or like the torpedo.
Right.
We can get that anytime. We want the special beers.
Special stuff.
So this beer called Lakeman Brewing out of Taupo, New Zealand, which is kind of in the North Island. It's kind of central, slightly to the east or slightly to the west. And they're a volcanic hotspot, as well as they have a giant lake. And this is Lakeman Brewing. And check out the logo on Lakeman Brewing. It's probably the coolest logo I've ever seen.
I was going to say, it sounds like the manliest brewery out there. And that image is definitely...
But the image looks like a Yeti.
Correct.
Right.
So instead of the abominable snowman, they got the lake man.
You're right.
The
So
abominable lake man.
So here's
a lot of
the
hair.
It's a bumble.
Bumbles,
Spiky hair, too.
So yeah, it is almost Christmas. So Rudolph jokes are on the
Here's
table.
the myth of Lakeman Brewing. On the shores of the great Lake Taupo, tales abound of a mythical beer-drinking beast. He's a big, hairy bugger. And actually, you should probably read this in your...
Yes, you should. I was
in
thinking the
your-
exact
my
same thing,
terrible
Ron.
New
Yes,
Zealand
Jackie
accent.
Pendergrass voice.
Okay, so I was told you do an Australian accent, but then you barely open your mouth and it's hate this New Zealand. All right. The myth. On the shores of the Great Lake Taupo, tales abound of a mythical beer-drinking beast. He's a big, hairy bugger, and the locals call him Lakeman. But there's something that sets him apart from other mythical beer-drinking beasts. Lakeman fancies craft beer, you see, and because you never want to get on the wrong side of such a creature, we created a brewery in his honor. It's called Lakeman Brewing Company, and it's fast becoming this stuff of legend around these parts. One taste and you'll know why. Lakeman is brewed from Topo's purest natural water and boasts malty, hoppy flavors as big as the myth itself. So if you spot one, don't be afraid. Just coax it gently to the nearest bar, Lena. Raise it to your lips and get it down, you big hairy beast. That's the best beer company story we've
And
read.
bar none the best beer reading that we've had on the pod.
We need a new T-shirt. You big hairy beast.
The big hairy beast.
That's so brilliant.
That's what I was told, though. If you do, I was hanging out with these Australians. They're like, all right, you do get the Gold Coast, but if you just don't open your mouth very much, it becomes New Zealand. It's the same accent.
So is that like the Scottish version for like
No,
the English?
I don't know. No, I think it's because you go watch like an interview with Peter Jackson, and you'll see like I don't move their lips as much.
Huh.
All right. So we'll do 3 beers tonight.
Okay.
And the first one is the Taupo Thunder,
Lakeman from Lakeman Brew, you big hairy beast.
an
Love
amber
it when you call me
New
that.
Zealand pale ale. So that's quite the different.
An amber.
An amber New Zealand pale ale,
Booyah.
which
That's what I'm talking
bursts
about.
of aromas of citrus and passion fruit. These fruit flavors strike a smooth malt, malt followed by a mild bitterness that rumbles on. 5.7 ABV, and there's your bottle art. Just
That
pretty
Lakeman.
slick.
That is cool.
Look at that big hairy blue beast.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's the centerpiece of every.
Sweet, man.
And every label is different depending on what part of Taupo they are naming the beer after. So,
Doing it here in these sniffers.
yeah. This is probably my favorite one by them.
Look at
Lake.
passion fruit.
Gracias, sir. Look at that big hairy beast pouring into the glass. Yimba.
And
Every New Zealander's going to be so mad at my
Bless you,
fake
thank you.
accent.
I did my best while I was away to untap all the beers that I had,
God, it smells fantastic.
as well as put them on Twitter. So if you're curious what I tried while I was there.
You had quite the
Yeah, you did.
untapped roll. We were getting, I was getting notifications. You got this badge. You got that badge. I don't know when we're going to get New Zealand badges again, so that's pretty
Right.
good.
Yeah, I had to. Every beer I had, I gave it a whirl.
Well, this is definitely an amber super copper color. I mean, it's got that like almost Smittix color, a little less red maybe.
Yeah, and what's
Don't
crazy is
smell like it though.
right, it smells high hops.
High hops and fruity. That's a
Yeah,
passion
the
fruit
kind of
smell,
yeah. You're right. It's more dragon fruit, passion fruit.
Right, well, that's what he's. Yeah, it was one of the. What was that? One of the hops they put in that? You said
The aromas are citrus.
the
and
aromas.
passion
Okay,
fruit.
that's what.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, here we go, gents.
Woo,
Let's do it.
excited.
Slanja. Cheers. Boom. It's on like Donkey Kong and a pot of Lakeman neck bone.
That ain't a bad tasting brew, is it?
Oh,
No,
God,
that's
it's
good.
probably my favorite. I was
Too smooth.
Holy
That's too
crap,
smooth,
that's
too.
good. It's so hoppy, but not offensive at all.
No, there's like
It is so much hop, but it is like aroma and
Where did you
everything.
say the hop was? Like, where did you say the ABV on it was? Or did they?
5.7.
Oh wow.
But it's so smooth.
Oh my god. Yeah, very much so.
Another cool thing about all the breweries in so you know how you have growlers? So you have a growler, which is the big one you can take home. They have squealers, which are halfway between a bottle and a growler. So I took an actual picture of one, and it's on our
Squealer.
our
Love it.
Untapped and our Twitter. It's halfway between. So if you do, and you know, it's just like a growler, but it's smaller,
It's a
and they
squealer.
call them
Like a little piglet,
squealers.
little
Yeah,
piglet.
so great.
Put it on your arm like a little piglet.
Yeah, I highly recommend if you want to go on a beer crusade that you go to New Zealand because
This is
damn.
fantastic.
yeah. I tasted this one first in a heated swimming pool near where was it? Yeah, it was in Taupo. And just, you know, you float on up to the bar, grab yourself a beer, float on away, and that's where I had it the first time, and I was like, this is probably my favorite one. But the problem is that every beer just got better and better. So
That is friggin' delicious tasting.
It is.
And I don't think I've ever had
smooth,
anything-
Smells wonderful.
I don't think I've ever had anything taste like this. Like this. There are several parts of this that are reminiscent of other things, but not as a complete
It doesn't taste like an amber. It tastes like a very fruity IPA. Not very fruity, but a lot of fruit notes there. But it's not even an IPA because it's just so smooth.
Yeah, the malt really balances it out.
Right. And that's where that amber,
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's
delightful, though.
it's great.
Man, that's flipping delicious.
Yeah, every beer you have from New Zealand is pretty friggin' phenomenal.
Who'd you say this was from? Oh, nope. Lakeman.
Well, now I just want to go to New Zealand.
Right?
I say we move the pod there.
All right.
Man, the only thing that Ron did not do into what I would have done is I would have stood somewhere on a hill and said, "Sons of Gondor, of Rohan, my brothers, I see in your eyes the same fear that would take the heart of me. A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship, but it is not this day for Frodo." I was a little disappointed Ron didn't go to the Lord of the Rings stuff,
I didn't.
but I'm glad he didn't. Then I can go.
So
Then I can go and I'll take all the nerdy pictures on the Shire.
I was going to say, what's that from? Is that from
Lord of the Rings.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Lord of the Rings.
Is that from one of those Star Wars movies?
Star Trek.
Star Trek.
This is actually Star Trek, The Next
Oh,
Generation.
gotcha.
It's Patrick Stewart's delivery line that he gave right before facing the Klingons. And then he said for Frodo. And old Spock was real confused.
So I didn't get a chance to go. It was loosely in the itinerary.
It's okay. When I go, I'll take care of it for you.
However, I did climb Mount Tongariro, which happens to be Mount Doom,
Is that Mount Doom
in the movie.
See, that's pretty awesome.
So
But I would have been annoying. I would have been like climbing along going, "Yes, it's Trixie's. Oh, I don't know what's happening. Yes. We takes the fat ones this way."
You would have been that guy.
Yeah, it's no bueno.
but that hike is it's not a joke. It's a pretty good hike. I was
Well,
expecting
one
it.
does not simply walk into Mordor.
No, one does not.
I think that's been
You're
established.
telling me.
What did one of our friends say about? So I texted a bunch of you a whole lot of pictures of being on the mountain.
I gotta been waiting to use that, and it was there. It was.
It's perfect. It's a good setup. And our friend, a friend of the pod, Arthur, had a really great retort to all that.
Oh, and asked about the hobbits.
Yes. Oh, it was so great.
Yeah, because Ron was just making us jealous, sending like these amazing pictures of New Zealand.
Where's
That looks like I don't want to be here. And because the time we were in Florida, it was 80 degrees.
Yeah, and it was Thanksgiving, and I'm climbing Mount Doom, and so I wrote "Happy Thanksgiving" from Mount Doom and posted a bunch of pictures, and then our friend of the pod, Arthur, was like, "Turkeys won't get you out of there like an eagle could," which was pretty perfect. So we should talk about some soccer.
We should.
Sure,
All right.
why not?
So week 13 of Premier League.
Lucky number 13?
We had not covered yet.
We have not.
No, we had a nice little international break.
Oh, yeah.
And then a return.
Last one of the year, thankfully. So
Yeah.
it's all just club football from here
Well,
on
this
out.
is just where it gets insane. This is
yeah,
where
this is where it's awesome.
we
Yeah,
start to
going
find
into
out
insanely awesome, yeah.
what's going to happen between all these. I love that. First up, we get to talk about Fulham and Southampton. Who would think that's since we're covering just our top
Tasty
5
match.
matches?
And why is that a tasty match there? Because Fulham,
Oh, well, that's right.
Fulham.
A new coach.
new coach, first
Because
manager
the last
casualty.
pod we said, "Hey, no coach been fired."
Exactly.
And the next
We
day,
jinxed the
done.
That was pretty entertaining. The texts were pretty funny flying the next day.
Yeah, but I mean, like we kind of talked on the pod, though.
We got Claudio Ranieri.
They got Claudio Ranieri. He's back in the Premier League.
Yep.
So, last time he was here, what did he do?
Well, he did kind of win the Premier League.
He did.
Leicester.
Not in the year that he left, but
Right.
he did the year before that. He did some amazing things. So I think that's what Fulham's looking for in him, is to get that little boost. They're not going to win the Premier League, no. They may, but to get them out of the bottom and to get them back in the W column. And in this game, that's exactly what happened. Fulham 3, Southampton 2.
Yeah.
Shootout kind of.
And it ended up being one of the more fun matches of the weekend.
Oh,
to be honest.
absolutely.
So I like your headline, oh Claudio, wherefore art thou Claudio?
Of course.
Of course.
I don't know why I even thought of it. Just
we should have done everything I know. If I thought about it, I'd have told you here's the headlines. They'll be all Lord of the Rings based. I didn't even
yeah.
should have done that.
And then that would have taken me 7 weeks to do because
They would have had to watch the movies.
No, it would have taken me seven weeks to watch the movies. That's how long they are. No, but
only if you do the uncut director's version.
Yeah, true. They're only 4 weeks.
Then
if
it's
you
only
don't.
4 weeks.
Right. Fulham, this is a big win. Yes, Claudio, that's what they wanted, that new manager bounce. Help that they were at home at Craven Cottage. But Fulham did have that new manager bounce. The Fulham offense looked like the Fulham offense that I think everybody probably thought they should be doing or should be playing at the beginning of the year. Mitrovic with the double in this game. The first goal from Fulham was just awesome. Awesome goal. All quickly being passed up the pitch. Zigzag. Then a little ball over to the top, and then a ball back into the box, and goal. And that was in kind of a rebuttal to an early Southampton goal, which is not what you want. You get a new manager in, you're playing at the Cottage. First goal goes against you 18 minutes in, but they responded very, very well. And then from there, it was just kind of back and forth and
our last couple
very
weeks
flowy offense.
Pardon me. Our last couple of weeks of Premier League has really changed this bottom set of the table.
Mm-hmm.
They're all now 18, 19, 20. They're tied with 8 points with just a minor goal differential separating each of them. But Fulham, they're 20th. They win one game, and the 5 clubs above them lose, which is highly possible.
Yeah.
And they're all of a sudden in 15th place.
It gives them life. Yes, it gives them life.
Gives them life, and it makes things very dangerous for West Ham, Huddersfield, Crystal Palace, and Burnley. Still don't think West Ham's out of this situation.
No, I don't think so either. I think anywhere from about 12th down, maybe even 11th down, they're going to be kind of tied in there.
Brighton Hove and Albion. Brighton and Hove Albion. Thank you. There we go. I think they got a good enough defense. I think they'll be fine.
Right, and you bring up a very good point because Fulham, while they were flowy in this, still gave up 2 goals. Their defense is still very, very pitiful.
Fulham,
but they had the offense with Schürrle and Mitrovic and Sarri and Tom Kearney. Like, they have the offense there that can score them goals. You'll see a lot of these games from here on out from Fulham where they're going to have to win 3-2s. 4-3s, 2-1s. Like they're not going to be games where they pitch a shutout.
No clean sheets.
Right.
And they have negative 19 goal differential Fulham. Yeah. Brighton Hove and Albion at 12 with 15 points have a negative 5.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge difference.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah. But very interesting now. That bottom, like you said, kind of from 13 on, I just have to it's.
And I think you were saying it earlier. It also was a big win because it kept Southampton in that bottom 3. So it kind of helps somebody that they're trying to compete against stay down there and get themselves back up. And now they're all, I don't know, Blake, did you say that they're all even?
All even at 8 points.
Yeah.
Southampton, pardon me, 18th is Southampton, 19th Cardiff, 20 Fulham, with respectively a negative 14, negative 15, negative 19 goal differential, but they each have 8 points. With Burnley and Crystal Palace above them with 9 points. At 16
and Burnley on a negative 14. That's not what you expect from a Sean Dyche Burnley team.
Yeah, they've tumbled through the table.
Yeah, their defense is just not up to par this year.
Which, I mean, and that kind of was what that's what let them get to almost to the Euros.
Right.
Yeah, it was a big part. And also their home form hasn't been that great this year either.
They were a fortress last year.
Right. Well, I think we'll get to Burnley a little bit later on. They were our Monday game.
This next match, I'm going to be honest, I can't believe Ferris put it on here for top 5 to discuss.
I put it on there because it's a
headline.
I love your headline. Seriously. Palace at home. Manchester United at home against Palace. Goose egg 0-0.
Yeah, bad.
Which is great for Crystal Palace.
It's a good away win for him, yeah.
Somehow it feels worse than a loss.
This is a draw that feels like a loss.
Yes,
certainly,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So again, this was my call. I said it. There's going to be a couple of games, and they go, we should can the rumblings of get rid of Mourinho, and then they'll win one, that is a good win. It's going to float. He's going to float the season
Right.
in a way.
He's going to win the must wins, and he's going to draw or lose
Right.
on these
Probably.
random games that he should be winning on.
Yeah, I think he still keeps his job throughout the year, and that's
Yeah.
that's how.
That's how it
Excuse
happens.
me. Yeah, that's exactly how
It won't
it'll
be
happen. I
quite
feel like.
enough to can him.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
Unless someone says, if someone like Zidane says, "Hey, hire me right now."
well, my headline for this was actually, and I couldn't think of a very clever way to do it, but I was going to put 0 for 0 points, and then put Zidane excitedly runs, and I was like runs away, but I was like, oh no, I can't. I figured out a clever way of saying that because I don't think Zidane wants to touch this team at the current moment. I don't know who you even bring in at the current moment that would want to come in. Yes, it's a Manchester United job. Yes, there are talented players there, but you have to kind of overturn and outdo the mentality of what the club's currently in right now in terms of their philosophy under Jose and.
But do you think
some of that player morale, which I don't know. I'm glass still kind of half full guy here because I don't think it's all doom and gloom. They in the Champions League yesterday, they won 1-0 to Young Boys at home. Not a very good result. It got what it needed to happen. It got the win. You needed the 3 points and it advanced them in that competition. But against Young Boys at home on a Champions League night, they should be winning against that competition 4-0. Yeah,
Did you
3-0, and they
see
weren't.
the stat I shared from Andy Mitten, who's a contributor for United We Stand editor, but he does stuff for 442 ESPN, GQ, Times, BBC.
No, I didn't see what you put.
Pardon me, still recovering from a cold. He posted up Man United 0, Crystal Palace 0, Dyer. 4th time Man United have failed to score at home in 9 games this season.
Yeah,
Fans booed end of the match, and it's Man United's worst start to a season in 28 years.
That's a worse start than
Van
Boys had, than Van
Gaal, or
Gaal
like-
had, yeah.
It's
Well, and here's it's still a long season. We're only 13 games of a 38-game season, so there's time to recover. Mourinho thinks that we'll still be in the top 4. I agree with that. I think it will somehow still get in the top 4. I don't know why. I don't know how. I just think somehow we will end up in the top 4 again.
You're okay. You're a little over halfway to 40 points. You're not going to get relegated. You'll be fine.
You're right. A-hole. But it's
at your
I don't
minus
know.
1 goal difference?
I just feel like there's something that like the damn breaking is not necessarily the right word because they're not piling shots at goal. Against Young Boys, they had a lot of shots in the first half and they weren't hitting goal but something's going to happen and I thought the what was it, the not the Chelsea win. What was the win right before the last international? The Newcastle win? Right before the last international break and they won 3-2 at home and they had to come from behind?
No, Bournemouth.
That was Newcastle at home.
No,
because Newcastle was trying to get a win, and then Alexis Sanchez came in and scored that header because the
Bournemouth, right?
Mutu had 2 before half.
Bournemouth.
Double check that. I'm almost 100%
looking
positive.
at it right now.
It's Bournemouth. It was a game Bournemouth should have.
Earlier in the season, we beat Newcastle 3-2 at home before another international break. Yes, we did beat Bournemouth where we came from behind
That's the
and
recent
did that.
one. Yeah,
correct. I'm talking earlier in the season. I thought that was going to be the catalyst to kind of push us forward. It's kind of, sort of, half-assed, maybe gotten there, but I don't know. Like something has to give at some point, and I don't know if that's big changes or if that's Mourinho just saying, "Screw it, you guys do what you want out there." Like I don't know what that is. Yes, okay, yes, everybody's probably screaming at the fire Mourinho. Okay, I get that, but we also don't want to be that club that is like in Orlando City that fires a coach every 2 years. I get it. It's his 3rd year. He doesn't really play, or he doesn't really survive from clubs in his 3rd year, but we're still in the process of rebuilding this team from losing a legendary
I'm not
manager.
Sure what's to be honest, as an outside observer, a neutral to Man United, whatever you call it, I'm not sure why it's wrong. Like the talent's there, the coach is there. It doesn't have the vibe that Chelsea did when it looked like the players were literally turning against Mourinho.
Right.
It doesn't feel like that.
Just a confidence thing?
I don't.
It feels like the entire team and the management and the club, every part of the club is perpetually holding their breath. That's what it feels like.
Right, and that's where I say that dam just gets broken down to where there's no. They do like they beat somebody like a Liverpool or Tottenham 4-0. Do I think we're gonna do that right now? No, but that happens. It kind of just then would release that like, hey, we can play with anybody, we can score goals. We are still an effective team, but we haven't had any type of that result. Yes, we've had these come from behind results, but it's been because we started slow. We haven't been the best. We've had to kind of scrape to even get that. And yes, there's some sort of relief there, but that relief is if we are, and Blake's probably make a comment, that's a relief if we're the Fulhams or the Southamptons at the bottom of the table, scratching our way back up. Yes, we have to work our way up into the top 4, but we're only in 7th, and it's not as dire as that. So,
but you're
right. I'm not really sure.
I know
what it is right.
Man, you came back and beat Bournemouth, but Bournemouth at 8 is more dangerous. Like I watched Bournemouth play. We'll talk about them in a minute with the Arsenal match, but they went at it like we're going to friggin' score on you the whole time. Like they attack,
right.
And that's how they play. They look more dangerous than a Man United right now. And I don't get that because there's the talent on that team to be dangerous.
They're also, and you've heard a lot of pundits over the years since Sir Alex left, is Old Trafford and Man United aren't feared anymore. It's not teams don't go in there with the, oh my gosh, it's United. It's wingers, it's Giggs, it's Scholes, it's the Van Nistelrooys up front. Like they don't go in thinking that anymore.
Yeah,
these guys can be beaten. Like the walls are down. Sir Alex left. The Old Trafford walls that was this big fort are down now. We can kind of go at them and get something. And oh, by the way, a lot of teams are successful at that and have been over the past few years. So we have to find a way to get that back. How that's possible? I mean, hopefully Woodward and Mourinho can figure that out, or Glazers may come in sooner or later and say, you know what, you're both gone. The Glazers may not do that, though, because Glazer's doing something for them. Ed Woodward on the other side of things, the marketing side of things, the campaign ads, the branding of the club, all of that, he's still making them a ton of money. They still have money rolling in. Maybe not, just amount, but the product on the field sooner or later is going to outweigh that. When that is, will that be this season? Will that be 2 years from now? Not so sure. And once the Glazers feel like that's starting to outweigh the profits that are going, and I'm not talking about in a financial way, but just enough push or enough media coverage or results are that bad, or there's a fear of losing that financials, then that's when they'll come in.
Teams of the Glazers own?
The Tampa Bay Bucks.
Who had an empty stadium this weekend. They don't want to see a bunch of red chairs.
Well, they had an empty stadium because we tried to go to the Browns and Bucks game. Let me say that again. The Browns and Bucks game. And if you want to sit in the third nosebleed sections, you're paying $140 easy. That stadium, you don't want to sit in that stadium all the way there for $140. They're giving, yes, all that, right?
Free tickets.
Because it's grossly overpriced. And that may not be all the Glazers. That's a little bit of the NFL as well. But, I mean, it's I don't know. It's kind of like right now. I'm still excited for their games. I look forward to their games, but I'm just like, I don't think I'm happy if we win. I'm not confident anymore. Like, oh, we should beat this team, or I don't think that about anybody right now.
I only bring it up with Tampa Bay Bucks in the sense that, to me, they're a little Man United to me in the sense of both teams have a lot of talent.
Correct.
And they are not.
They're not performing according to that talent.
Like, it's just, it's not happening.
So I expect at least one or two of Man United to be gone in the winter, in the January transfer window.
Yeah, it won't be anybody too big. You could see a bigger name come in, though, and it'll be somebody on the defensive side of the ball, either a Toby Alderweireld, maybe a Koulibaly, somebody like that could come in.
I think Sanchez is going.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. That would be somebody, right.
You get some good money for him, and he's not really adding to the team.
No, which is sad.
He's going to do much better somewhere else.
Right? He's going to play somewhere else.
He's kind of like an Angel Di Maria from a few years ago that Van Gaal brought in, lasted a season, and then was out the next year because he wasn't producing as well as we thought, or the style of play wasn't necessarily matching to get the maximum results.
And then when he left, he picked up.
Yeah, because I think he went to PSG at that point. And yeah. So he played more expansive style.
I see that happening, going somewhere else in Europe.
Yeah, good too. Which at this point, he's not helping us at all. So, okay, fine.
Right.
No, but if I would take a defender coming in and maybe somebody to back up Lukaku. I know we think like Rashford could be that person, but he missed a lot of chances against young boys. As much as the style of play may not suit him, some of those you got to bury, or at least get on frame. That's not Jose. That's the player. I'm not saying he's bad, because Rashford has tons of talent, and I hope he stays for us for years. But maybe a full out number 9 to come in and back up Lukaku, somebody that offers a different set of skills.
Yeah.
Sanchez could do that to an extent, but he's not doing it effectively enough and producing enough goals in that role when he's in. So
Right. But they're also not using that number 9 position quite as, I don't want to say traditionally, because that's not quite accurate, but they need, I don't know. It's just the vibe of how they want that number 9 to play is not a traditional 9.
right, and I don't know. It's going to sound weird. I do feel like a Morata would be a better number 9 in this system than Lukaku. Morata's a little bit better with the ball at his feet and can hold it up and is better on that first
And that's
touch.
not Lukaku.
And that's not Lukaku.
Right.
He's a big, bruising boy that can get some powerful shots on goal. And as I'm always reminded, he gets the easy goals. Thanks, Phil. But he does pick up the trash in front of the net. That's one thing.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting is in the World Cup, he didn't have trash goals.
He looked great in the World Cup.
Well, he looked more like the
stellar.
Everton Lukaku playing in the World Cup. Yeah.
So
I could see Morata. I like Morata's not going to come, but I think somebody, Mario Icardi would be somebody I think would do well in this system, because he can hold it up a little bit. He can pace in between the lines, and he could shoot from wherever. But he'll also get those scrap goals. He's kind of your complete number 9 in that sense.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to get him, but that would be somebody that I think would fit in well. But we've wasted too much time talking about a team, so I think we'll probably move on.
You heard it. It's on tape. A team.
I still love them. They just drive me nuts sometimes.
It's fair. I'm still a Buffalo Bills fan. I don't know why.
And I'm still a Bucks fan. God, my sports life is miserable.
We can move on to the next team the next game who could have the coach that could replace Jose Mourinho.
Ooh, I take that in a heartbeat.
You see that happening. And that is Pochettino's Tottenham against Chelsea. They are home. Well, is it really home for the Spurs?
At this point now, it is. Might as well move right on in.
Right.
Did you see how many empty seats there were because people were mad because that game was supposed to be at their new stadium?
Yeah.
And so people didn't show up. It's a shame.
I think it was supposed to be on a different date and time, if I'm not mistaken.
There was a bunch of British protests. So great. They're just like, nope, not going. But Tottenham beats. They beat Chelsea. They beat Chelsea 3-1, ending Chelsea's unbeaten streak.
Right.
So I feel like this game was an anomaly. I feel like obviously at some point Chelsea was going to lose a game.
Right.
I don't think Chelsea is as bad or Tottenham is as good as this score dictates. Chelsea's had a really good defense. So to get 3 behind past them.
Chelsea aren't as bad, but I do think Tottenham is as good. They can be. Because this is what we've seen the past several years. Although they haven't had any signings come in, the 3 that scored, Ali, Kane, Son, those 3 are as deadly as anybody else in the
Son
Premier
goal was
League.
amazing.
Yeah.
All him. That was you alone on easy, grabbing the ball in FIFA and just hitting turbo.
Right.
Just going the whole way down.
Exactly.
That was awesome.
So I do think Tottenham are as good. What Tottenham hasn't been is they haven't been consistently good like that all year.
But that's the thing. Yes, flashes of, but I don't see them. They are not going to compete for the title because right now, if you can't be consistent, Liverpool and Man City are going to leave you in the dust.
Yeah.
So that inconsistency is what will. There's 3-1. I was like, I feel like that makes Tottenham look a lot better than I think they actually are.
But they deserve that 3-1. Because they came out and they just punched Chelsea in the mouth and they got some goals quick. And
I think this is one of those springboard games for Chelsea where you've got a team that's just winning, or I should say they're not beaten and they're riding high. They get a little full of themselves. They get slapped in the mouth. They lose a game and then they come back even stronger because they're going to make up for that game that they lost.
I'm just hoping Tottenham burned it all out this game.
Yeah, because you got the
Sundays, the all derby day.
Yeah, the Derby day.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
gonna be fun.
Everton and Liverpool, Arsenal and Tottenham, and who is it? It's
Chelsea
another
Fulham.
Chelsea Fulham.
Yep.
Yeah. So I hope Spurs got it all out of their
So,
system.
Ron, a lot of commentary after this was some good points, but a lot of it was, okay, why is Jorginho playing in the Conte role? Because Jorginho got beat on that Sun goal, something fierce.
Yep.
And why is Conte being played not so far out of position, but in a position where he's not as comfortable with? He's used to sitting in front of the back four, picking the ball up, defending the back, or like protecting the back four, and then linking play. Jorginho does a good job of that, but they got burned in this game. However, they've been playing that style the entire year.
Correct. So I'm of two minds on this. One, Jorginho is a very tactically minded player. And in that, he puts himself in very smart positions to make plays on the ball. I think his vision is really good, but his vision and tactical awareness make up for his lack of wheels. I don't think he's nearly as fast as N'Golo Kante is.
And I don't think he's as well positioned. either.
Correct. But I think of the midfielders you can name in almost any of these teams, N'Golo Kante is easily your best midfielder in the league right now. Jorginho is probably 3 or 4 in that.
He has the most
lineup.
passes in the league so far.
So I think how he's been able to do it in the past is that he's never just been flat out beaten that way. It's a pretty rare occurrence. There was a lot of out of position also in that, in the transition of the Heung-min goal. So that was kind of a contribution to it. I just don't think at the end of the day, I don't think his wheels can make up for any time he's tactically lax. Whereas N'Golo Kante is, if he's tactically lax, you had to beat him, but he can make up that run.
Right. And I mean, you kind of expect a Son who's a winger fast player to beat a center defensive, center holding midfield player. You kind of expect that. Where I think Conte would have helped with that is he would have been better positioned. And I don't necessarily mean on the field. Yes, on the field in this case, but with his feet work and body to not get beaten as bad, to your point.
Right.
But I feel like Conte would have also seen that, hey, I may need to pick up a card here, take Son down, and not let that from happening.
Yeah, that's certainly.
So if because like Jorginho didn't have the option to do that because he was just beat, like it was just gone. Like he had no. But I think if
Where'd who go?
exactly, Conte would have been over there. His positioning with his feet and his body would have been better to allow him to catch up and then put in a tackle like that. That would have, again, protected that back four at the time.
Right.
And that's where I think it's slightly different. It's hard to say because they weren't in that position and it didn't happen. So we're just taking, a guess
conjecture
here. Right. But I agree. I don't think Chelsea are as bad as this game necessarily showed.
I think this will be a blip on a pretty good season.
Yeah. And you guys, what was the score today in your Europa
4-0.
game?
I still think they'll end higher than Tottenham on the table.
They'll end higher than Tottenham
Yeah.
table? I don't remember.
I think they got more consistency.
I could see it.
Agreed.
Now, up until this point, they were higher than Tottenham in the table,
Yep.
right?
Our goal differential is better too.
Well, and now what does that say about Tottenham, though, right? They're up here in third on 30 points, quietly up there in third. The season they've been having, it hasn't felt like they should be in third right now, right? The season that Chelsea's been having, you're like, all right, well, City and Liverpool are there, so like Chelsea's hanging on there in third, makes sense. For me, it's like, well, where kind of Tottenham
I
come
think
from
it's
all of a
the
sudden?
inconsistency. I think everybody is making an assumption that regardless of what they look like any given week, or today they got up to 30 points, they beat Chelsea bad. They think they're going to screw it up enough to have to fight to
Right.
stay in the top four.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll slowly wear down on them.
It might be some silly draws or whatever, but that's going to happen.
Silly draw.
Silly draw. Next matchup, Bournemouth.
Goals are for kids.
Goals are for kids. Bournemouth at home against Arsenal. Man, that first goal by Lerma, or Lerma, Lemming, by Lerma, that own goal was hit so strong
Beautifully.
that while watching it live, I thought Arsenal had scored that goal. as it's moving, because it was hit with such force. I went, oh, and then like an own goal. I was like, wait, an own goal? Who?
It's a beautiful own goal.
It was, man, I just feel bad for him because it's always rough when you get an own goal, but when you just drill it into the back of your own net like that, that was just awful.
That's when he kind of like, he kind of just went down and was like, oh crap. Like,
I mean,
there's nothing he could do.
Like he got helped up and there was just like, well, it was just weird. It happens, you know?
Oh man.
Well, and there was a stat though. Arsenal ended up winning the game 2-1 because Bournemouth got a late goal in the first half.
Which, by the way,
King goal was a great goal.
Because everyone was going, oh my gosh, for the first time in the season, Arsenal's going to end up at the half with the other team. No goal for the other team.
Right.
Because that hasn't happened yet, I do not believe, for the season.
And then they sneak one in right before.
Right, and that was the point where there was some stat that NBC showed where Arsenal have scored a majority of their goals in the second half, and those goals have led on to wins. They've barely scored anything in the first half.
I don't think we've led at the half. I think it's either been drawn or
Yeah. But those goals in the second half, how many they've scored have then led to wins at that point. And it was like the 30 or 40 or something along those lines. So that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was able to pull that out in the 67th minute, and Arsenal was able to hang on. Just kind of show this is a different Arsenal. It's kind of what we've been talking about.
Yeah, these are games they would have drawn or lost last year.
And Bournemouth, foot on the gas the whole game. They were trying.
That's the only way they know how, though.
They had some off the goal post. It's just one of those days you're like, oh, you guys are doing a lot of things right, and it is just not. It's not going to fall your way.
Yeah.
It's not falling your way. No, that is how they've been the whole season. Bournemouth's been a blast to watch.
Attack.
Yeah. So, but yeah, again, it just feels different in Arsenal because a year ago, 46th minute goal before going in the half, I'd go, oh, here it goes. We're going to lose like 3-1.
Yeah.
Like, and that's not how you feel. So it's a very different, it's just a different vibe. It's just funny to even watch the Arsenal Twitter. So weirdly optimistic.
Yeah. There's not as much,
there's
not as much angst about Arsenal as there normally would be at this point.
I think it is
previous seasons.
Proof to it's something we had said a ton in the last couple of years. Sometimes you just got to change. You just have to make a change, even if it's the bad change first to get to the right change. Yeah, make it. Now it looks like things are working out, Emery, so far, but something had to change.
Yeah, so far the change is great.
Yeah,
you guys have definitely it's been better than United's change at the time. So by far better.
Different. Oh, sure. Well, okay. I guess if you compare it to
Sir Alex,
Sir Alex
the time
Ferguson,
that he was there, what
he
did for the club. Arsene wasn't quite to the Sir Alex level. I think he's in kind of a sphere of his own, but he's way up there.
Like when Sir Alex stepped away, though, too, they had just done amazing.
We had just won the league,
right?
Yeah.
When Wenger stepped away, it had been
it had already
mediocre,
slowly wound down.
Yeah, they were still getting into the Champions League and or the Europa League, but yes, it was that was all winding down.
Yeah,
people weren't begging for Sir Alex to be gone.
No, gosh, no.
That'd be the difference.
I want him to come back, actually.
But yeah, I think that's just the main storyline right now. It's just different at Arsenal. Again, like this year, I was like, hey, I don't want to. I'd love to win the league, but that's not what I'm expecting. I just hope it's different and it makes it fun to watch again, and it is.
Yep,
it's fun to watch it.
It's hard not fun to. It's hard. It's hard to not have fun watching Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
I'll just say that is also a difference.
Lacazette and
who's not in this match.
Mkhitaryan and Iwobi and some of these very Arsenal, I don't say fancy players, but quick on the feet, quick in the channels, and
when Aubameyang scored, the other thing that's different is the way the club celebrates with each other.
Yeah.
That is also a very, very different vibe than the previous years. Hugely different. This brings us on to Burnley and Newcastle. Another surprise that makes our top 5 in the sense of where these two clubs are sitting. But that's a big win for Newcastle, who desperately needed another win.
Yeah, and you say big surprise. This is, we haven't talked about City or Liverpool necessarily because the last 3-4 games that they've had have been like 3-0. 4-0.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of talking.
No, they say is they're fantastic.
This is Burnley Newcastle kind of fighting it down below, and this is Newcastle's 3rd win all of a sudden.
Right.
In a row in the league. At home to Burnley, like we were talking about earlier, whose defense is at a -14 right now.
which is very uncharacteristic.
Right, especially at home.
Yeah.
And Newcastle, who were down in the bottom 3, if not at the very bottom, are now up to 13th.
And that just goes to show you what Blake said earlier is right. If you're in the bottom, it's so tight knit that if you can put 2 wins together, 2 wins and a draw, 3 wins,
You're just outside of the top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
They're 5 points out of being in 10th right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And, we're not talking about the Wolves, but the Wolves are a club that have kind of dropped still.
Slightly.
Yeah.
Slightly, yeah. Yeah.
I think their lack of defense. Well, I should
Catching
say
up.
their lack of defensive regularity is really what's hurting them. Sometimes their defense is spot on, and other times you didn't even notice there was a defense.
Nope.
So I think if they can solidify a defense, their attacking play is actually what's keeping them up in the 9s, 10s, 11s area. Because they have some really good attacking. They just can't keep a defense together.
And actually, speaking of, because the Wolves were playing, they play Cardiff? No, who did they play?
Hold, please.
Because Cardiff
Who did they
won.
play?
We didn't talk about them, but that's also a big deal.
Did Cardiff win?
Didn't they?
I don't remember.
Hold on, I'm getting there.
I'm almost positive because I just remember watching the Wolves match because they kept showing.
I thought Cardiff lost to
Robert
Everton
playing.
1-0. Was I wrong on that?
That is correct. They
That is
lost to
correct.
Everton
Okay,
1-0.
so they did lose.
Oh, sorry. Cardiff plays the Wolves tomorrow. Friday.
Oh.
That's what's in my head.
For Friday game?
Friday
Nice, okay.
Friday game. Yeah. An exciting Friday game with Wolves versus Cardiff.
The Wolves just lost to Huddersfield 2-0.
That's who it was. Huddersfield
we
just
go.
had a big win. And they desperately needed that.
Yes, they did.
That moved them out of the bottom too into with 10 points up into 15th place. So again, that whole this year looks like it might be a whole lot tighter. That race to the bottom, that fall to the bottom, whatever you want to call it, could be a lot tighter than it was last year. We might not have an Aston Villa this year. That's for you, Matt. That just so clearly.
I get it all the time. Don't worry.
Yeah. We need to talk about a little bit of UEFA Champions League, but Ron's got 2 more beers, and we gotta get a boogie.
Boogie.
Boogie. We got some more New Zealand beers.
The next New Zealand beer
Is it also from Lakeland?
is what?
Is all from Lakeman?
Yeah,
Big hairy beast.
I thought you said Lakeland. And I'm
Well,
like,
these
what?
are all
No, we're not
from,
getting
'cause this is
beers
the
from
Friday
Lakeland
pack.
right now.
correct.
Gotcha.
All of these will be from the Lakeman Brewing Company
You big hairy beast.
in Taupo, New Zealand. All right, so this one is called the Hairy Godfather.
Oh, yes.
It's an American amber.
They like them some ambers, don't they?
With a clean, smooth malt, lashings of Simcoe and Zythos hops. I've never heard of the Zythos hops. Give a rush of grapefruit, pine, and stone fruit flavors.
What's a
What the hell
stone
is a
fruit?
stone fruit? Like, can you squeeze a stone fruit?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Sword in the stone.
So this
The stone fruit. A lot easier to get out. You become like president of a club, not the king of a country. Right.
So 5.6 ABV. There's your art.
That is awesome looking. And it's very similar. I like that they keep that Yeti guy going.
Yeah, he's like the man.
Legendary craft beer. This is
Stone fruit is a fruit with flesh or pulp enclosing a stone, such as a peach, plum, or cherry.
but it's kind of stone like a nut.
Yeah, like that hard interior.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those are apparently called stones.
Called stones. Learn something.
Learn something every day.
And this is from where again in New Zealand?
Taupo. 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 That's how the locals pronounce it.
Taupo. This is a very similar. Oh, this is a little darker amber than the previous, which was also an amber. Not as strong a hop smell. Smells good. Sweeter, which you would guess with an amber.
Bless you, sir.
Yeah. Definitely more color of a
Definitely
standard amber.
Yep.
Yeah, it's that dark ruby red. Oh man, I'm so over this cold.
Yeah, it has the scent of more of your standard amber type ale, but it is much more fruity.
Cheers, gents.
Does not smell much more fruitier, but that's stone fruit. It's not
My goodness, that's good.
Ooh,
good amber.
The finish on that.
I expected this to be sweeter,
Ooh.
Yeah, I did too.
But it's not. It's not too.
It's got just enough sweetness to it, and the finish is not nearly as bitter as a normal amber ale.
Yeah, it actually though could be a little more bitter than the first pale ale,
I think
which speaks to that
probably-
pale ale's.
I think it was.
smoothness.
Yeah.
Right.
This is actually more bitter, but it's not
Agreed.
pale ale. This is good. All right, 2 for 2.
I'm telling you, they have
Very good from Lakeman.
They don't have a beer that's terrible. I
You
promise.
big hairy Godfather. All right, you take us to some UEFA action.
Sure. So there's a little league over in Europe called the UEFA Champions League. The champions. And I can't sing anymore because then Blake would yell at me because then we have to owe them money and all that fun stuff.
Well, because if anyone would go after us, it would be. It's not FIFA.
Right.
They would get a couple of scarves and some jerseys, and that would be how we pay them because we ain't got nothing else. So after 5 games in the group, there are 6 games in the group because each group, group A through H, is divided amongst, A through H has 4 teams in them. So they play 6 teams, a home and away for each team in their group. After 5 games thus far, we have had some big teams already qualify, some onto the round of 16, so the knockout rounds, and then a few teams that are kind of on the cusp, but that may or may not make it. But for the majority, you've had a lot of teams that have kind of already solidified their places. And usually in the Champions League, it's always, I don't say it's always kind of that way, but your bigger teams will get potted in groups that have lesser European teams in a little bit lesser leagues. Not like lesser in the sense that they're not as good, but the financials involved with it and players that they can attract and so on and so forth. So out of Group A, you have Atletico Madrid and Borussia Dortmund have automatically qualified. Not automatically, but have qualified. And who gets 1, who gets 2 will be decided in the next game, I believe.
I don't think we're either of anyone surprised on those.
No. And I don't have in front of me necessarily all of the groups, but in their group, it consisted of Club Brugge and Monaco. So a little bit of a surprise from Monaco. Thierry Henry's Monaco, actually, now, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yep.
Saying that? Monaco right now will probably finish at the bottom of the table. Even if they win, they're not going to get above Bruges. And even if Bruges win, they're not going to get up to Dortmund or Madrid. Madrid's currently sitting on top of 12 points and Dortmund 10. They can kind of flip-flop there depending on how results go in match days.
That could have been an exciting final. Atletico Madrid and Borussia Dortmund.
Right.
Yeah.
In Group B, a very good group, a very good hard group. Only one team so far has qualified, and that would be Barcelona, sitting on top of the group.
Played well in this.
Played very well,
They
yeah.
played very well.
Very well. They have 4 wins, 1 draw, 0 losses, and they're sitting on top of the group with 13 points. Second and third are the 2 teams that could potentially go through should they win. Tottenham and Inter Milan played this past week, and I believe they drew. They're both sitting on 7 points with -1 goal difference. And I believe Inter play Barca next game. Barca already qualifying. Who knows if that'll be a hard or easy game for Inter. And then PSV Eindhoven, at the bottom of the group, will not advance because they're sitting on 1, so no matter what they do.
They're going home.
Yeah, as much as I'd like to see another English club in, I'd like to see Inter Milan advance. I actually am wearing, today's been a day of jerseys for me. A friend of the pod, Ryan, brought back, he was on an Italy trip a few weeks back and brought back a lovely home Inter Milan kit. It's a beautiful black and blue, and it's gorgeous kit.
I think if you're a Spurs fan, you want Spurs out of this.
Yeah, and Spurs
just focus on the Premier League,
Yeah,
because the Spurs aren't.
Well, but here's the thing:
win the championship.
Tottenham, even if they don't go through in this, they may qualify for the Europa League. And do you really want that? And going through the battle that is the Europa League. They have a good shot because I believe they play PSV Eindhoven. I'm not sure if they play at home or not in match day 6. So if they win that, depending on what the Inter Milan result is, they can go through.
No one will show up anyway.
Maybe not. Group C is the only one thus far where no team is solidified with going.
This is a really tough group.
This is probably the toughest of groups. So at the current top of the table, you have Napoli sitting on 9 points with 2 wins and 3 draws. They're on a +3.
Which is slightly surprising, considering the 2 next teams.
Yes.
Slightly surprising.
Yes. PSG is sitting in second on 8 points. They have 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. Liverpool sitting in third place, 2 wins, 0 draws, and 3 losses. And they're sitting on 6 points. And then Red Star Belgrade last on 4 points. So Belgrade can't make it in no matter what their result is because they can't get up to that 8 points. However, Napoli, PSG, Liverpool, any one of those 3 teams, depending on how results play out, could go through. So yes, even though Napoli's at the top of the group on 9 points, if results played out a certain way and say, I don't remember what the next group of games are, but if the results go a certain way, Napoli could stay on 9 points with a minus goal difference if they give up a whole bunch of goals. So that's the group you want to watch for in match day 6 is Group C, because any one of those 3 powerhouses will be going. One of them will be going out and moving on to the Europa League. The other 2 will be going on to the round of 16.
That's going to be a fun one to watch.
Absolutely, it will. And I believe PSG just played Liverpool this past week. So Ron, would you be able to bring up what the match day 6 games look like as I go down? Because I'm curious to see who plays who. And depending on whoever plays Red Star Belgrade, yes, it seems like it's easy. But if you're playing in Russia, that's not as easy as you think. That's a trek. And in the middle of December, it's cold. So
match day 6.
Group
C. Hold, please. Sorry.
You hairy godfather.
Yep. So PSG will play Belgrade.
What did it say we're at, by any chance?
It looks like they're going to play it at PSG.
Oh, that's good for PSG.
That's
And then
They'll win that, yeah.
Liverpool playing at Napoli.
Tough game for Liverpool. Ooh. Very tough game. We'll see, but that should be a fun one to watch in match day 6. Moving on to Group D, 2 teams that have advanced, and not surprisingly sitting at the top of the group, but you have FC Porto on 13 points, 4 wins, 1 draw, 0 losses. Schalke 4 sitting in second on 8 points, 2, 2, and 1. Galatasaray and Lokomotiv Moscow sitting right below them. Galatasaray on 4 points, Lokomotiv Moscow sitting on 3. They're done for because, again, they can't get up to 8. So Porto will probably, they will end top of the group because no matter if Schalke wins, they're not going to get all the way up there. So Porto go out of Group D as your number 1 team and Schalke your number 2. Probably what a lot of people thought. You probably could have swapped Schalke for Galatasaray, but that's kind of boom, run of the par for Group D. Group E, despite Bayern Munich's not so good play in the league, they are doing quite well in the Champions League. Not the hardest of groups, in fairness. But you have Bayern on top with 13 points, 4 wins, 1 draw. You have Ajax, which is great to see them is high up. They're kind of a big storied club in Europe. And they're sitting in second right now, automatically qualifying, or not automatically, I keep saying automatically, but qualifying at this stage on 11 points, 3 wins, 2 draws. And then Benfica on 4 points and AEK, which I believe is out of Greece, if I'm not mistaken, on 0 points on a minus 10. So Bayern and Ajax going through, depending on who will go first and second, is still undecided on that. Ron, do you have the games for match day 6 by any chance?
I do. Bayern Munich. So Ajax plays Bayern in Bayern.
Ooh, so who goes top of the group?
And then, who are the other 2?
Benfica and AEK.
Oh, okay, and Benfica plays AEK at AEK.
Cool. So that game kind of toss aside. They're not really doing anything. That may be a qualification for the Europa League, though. So Benfica probably wants to win that. But yeah, Bayern and Ajax are going to play for top of the group on match day 6.
That'll be a fun one.
Absolutely. Group F.
Dun dun dun.
Manchester City have qualified. They are the only team to do such in Group F, despite losing twice now to Lyon. I'm sorry, they lost 1. And then they drew 1. They drew this past time and lost the first time.
Right.
But they're going through in maybe not first, but they're definitely qualified in the round of 16.
The
on
Premier
10
League
points.
form is not translating to
no,
Champions
it's not.
League.
It's not. Whether they're just kind of taking the foot off the gas or kind of just being complacent there, but they haven't quite blistered through this group as much as they thought. Lyon sitting currently in second on 7 points. Shakhtar Donetsk sitting in third place on 5 points. And then Hoffenheim all the way down in 4th place. So Lyon or Shakhtar Donetsk could go through still.
The exciting game for match day 6 will be those two.
So they play each other?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Manchester City plays Hoffenheim. That's kind of a toss away game.
Yeah. City will want to win that though to go first in the group. But yeah, so some interesting stuff there in Group F. Group G, kind of what you thought. Real Madrid, Roma, CSKA Moscow, and Plzeň, all in that group. Real Madrid going through on first currently, could potentially drop to second, but just like Bayern, their league form is not translating to Champions League. Again, not in the toughest of groups, but Madrid playing very well in the Champions League with four wins and 1 loss. Roma sitting on 3 wins and 2 losses, and both of those teams will certainly go through. Just kind of depend there on who gets first and second. Odds are you'll probably see Madrid go first overall in Group G.
Real Madrid will be playing CSKA Moscow.
In Moscow?
Yeah.
Tough game, but they should win it.
They should see it out.
Yeah. And then Group H, kind of what you thought, but on United's form, maybe not. Juventus are top of the group with 12 points. United in second on 10 points.
That is shocking.
They will in a big win a few weeks back in Turin by United
in the Premier League.
And they could win the entire Champions League. I could see that happening. Yeah, I really could.
And then they're like, what do we do for next year? Crap. Like,
right. So Juventus United, again, going through. I believe United has to go away to Valencia, and Juventus and Young Boys play. So Juventus should win that game. So they'll probably go top of the group, and United going out of the group in second, more than likely, unless Juventus drop points. And we win in Valencia. So I believe there's 4 spots left, if my math is correct, on who will go through to the round of 16 of the UEFA Champions League. So
dun, dun, dun.
Fun league to watch. I know it's a little bit more difficult this year because it's no longer on the Fox networks. It's on the Turner. Well, it's mainly Bleacher Report Live.
Yeah,
but it's not a station on your TV, so they partner.
It is on TV too.
It's on. Yeah, they partnered with Turner Sports on TNT, and they'll show a couple games. It's also on a couple of Spanish channels as well. You can see a couple of different games, and then they have the whole app and subscribe, and you can watch all of the Champions League games from every match and Europa League for a flat rate or a monthly rate. But that is your Champions League kind of.
We got some fun games to watch on Match Day 6.
Absolutely.
When is that coming up?
Match Day 6.
Yeah. This coming week?
Dun, dun, dun.
Or is it the following week?
It's not the 11th. December 11th.
Right, it's not, correct.
Tuesday.
During that crazy season of so many matches.
Yeah, and then they take a break for the holidays.
It's
and
2
then come
days.
back in February.
It's the 11th and the 12th of December.
Before we move to MLS and do our last beer, did I hear correctly? Sorry, just going back a little bit to Premier League. Because Champions League does use VAR? Did Premier League announce that next season they're using VAR?
Yes,
we did not talk about that, but they announced, especially after Charlie Austin had his freak out.
It came off on the back of Charlie Austin's rant, which was a legitimate rant. He was 100% correct in everything he was saying. And I don't know if that was maybe the catalyst to push the owners of the, of all the clubs to vote in favor of VAR. I think it was inevitable. It was it was going to happen.
Once
right?
Bundesliga did it, you felt like it was going to go to all of Europe.
I think the World Cup had more to do with it, though.
I think the World Cup essentially tipped over the first set of dominoes, and now it's gone.
Yeah. It was Bundesliga into the World Cup because last year,
they would have been the first set, and then an entire row went down with the World Cup.
I remember watching a day of Bundesliga and going, "Why don't we just do this?"
Right?
Because they used VAR, say 3 times this match I watched. Didn't add any time. Quick decisions were made. It was awesome. Right. I was like, that should just be in everything.
But I don't
like
the only.
And then they used it very similarly in the World Cup. Right. How they used it. Yeah.
So I would agree that the Bundesliga really did kind of start it, but it wasn't popular until it was on the world stage, and all the naysayers could see that it gets the calls right. It went well, and it didn't add as much time to the game as what everybody said it was going to.
So quick,
right? Yeah. So I think yes, the Bundesliga started it, but I really think since it was on the world stage in the World Cup, that's really what.
Hey man, let's give the Germans a win.
I mean,
man, wow, just
the Germans, and that And that rant by Charlie Austin a few weeks ago was great. I don't have the best of English accent, so I'm not going to try. But he basically said, from his quotes, it's ridiculous. They shouldn't be in the game. Austin said, we scored a perfectly good goal, make it 2-0, game's done and dusted. The officials cost us 2 points. It's a joke. We go on about VAR. This VAR that helped the officials out, clearly they need help. We play in the Premier League, the best league in the world, the most watched league in the world. Give them all the help they need because clearly they cost us 2 points today. It's a joke. We deserve 3 points today, but we've been let down by the officials, and that's why we didn't get 3 points. I mean, he was right. He was 100% right. There's nothing there. He wasn't necessarily calling out a specific official or the head ref, but he's saying they need help with stuff like this because they're human. They're going to get mistakes.
I'm excited to just see play through. My favorite thing about VAR is when, like the way they did World Cup, don't call that unless it's egregious. You don't call that offside. Just let it go.
And then we'll review it quickly.
Just let it
go.
Yeah.
And so then what it does too is you got to make your defense. Do you don't stop playing?
Right.
Play. Go. It actually would have been to Bournemouth's favor. I think their first goal would have, or their second goal would have counted against Arsenal.
Right. Enough with putting your hands up and stopping.
One, actually, the Bournemouth was a really good example of it's not about a bad call from the ref. The ref made the call, and the commentators went, was he offsides? And they watched it play back in real time, real quick, as it was going back to play. And they're like, oh, yeah, he was offsides. A little bit later, they go back and look at it again. They're like, I can't tell. The point they finally go, oh, you know what? He was onside. That goal should have counted. But then the commentators go, but to be fair, it took us 4 times going back to this to see it.
Yeah.
And of course, they're also doing other stuff like trying to commentate the game. But that is a perfect example of not a bad call, a perfectly good call by a human in the speed of the moment. But that's where the VAR would have.
You reminded me, though. Champions League does not have VAR.
Does not.
They have the sideline officials, or they have the goal officials. Remember, they introduced those extra set. The reason I say that was because there was a lot of controversy when Fellaini scored this past week to get the 1-0 win against Young Boys. Valencia, the club's not very happy because they cost them a chance because they feel that Fellaini used his hand, and it wasn't reviewed because they don't have VAR.
Right.
However, UEFA confirmed that VAR, this was confirmed back in September, so it's not anything like new because of it. UEFA confirms that in Champions League for 2019-20 season, so next season, they will have VAR.
Fellaini had to use his hand. He still doesn't know how to play without the hair.
Right. God, have you seen that? How weird is that?
So weird looking.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Just grow it back. Like turn into a chia pet. Just pour a little water on it and then grow that bad boy out. Yeah.
Well, before we get to the MLS and wrap this up, I know Ron's got to go. Last beer. Let's do this.
Alrighty.
All right, you hairy beast.
Again, from Lakeman, it is the Primate Pilsner.
Oh, I flippin' love that.
Yeah. Get your opposable thumb around our crisp New World style Pilsner. Straw in color and of light malt character with lemon citrus notes and Pacific Jade hops, providing a soft but bitter finish. 5.2 ABV on this one.
Oh, man, I'm excited for this crisp Pilsner to finish the day off with.
That's your art.
Looking gorgeous as usual.
Looking sexy.
Look at that golden straw, beautiful Pilsner color. Ooh, nice and clear beer.
Some good.
Smell that grassy notes on that Pilsner. I'm excited for this, y'all.
You like a good Pilsner?
The more I get into crazy beers, the more I love when someone can make it just a simple, classic, good Pilsner.
Yeah, and it's
hard.
Very good of the style. Very in the keeping with the style.
Right.
Not getting all crazy about it.
We don't want no cray Pilsner.
What's this 5% on this guy?
5.2. Primate Pilsner.
Primate Pilsner. All right, gentlemen.
Oh, smells
Cheers.
great. Cheers.
Yeah, it does. Sláinte.
I don't want to say you saved the best for last.
That's crispy and good.
That, man.
I can sit back and drink a lot of these with Jackie Pendergrass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on a nice warm day. Ooh.
Oh, Jakey.
Did you say Jakey?
Jakey.
He likes it. He likes some Pilsners. Primate Pilsners. Ooh, that's good.
That's a good one.
It's quality. That's one you can just, that's easy drinking, man. Drink that anytime.
So, MLS first leg of the conference final playoffs.
Can you believe that this damn playoffs are still freaking going?
I feel like the format, the two legs, it just creates an excitement for the beginning that just peters out, except for the diehard MLS followers.
Yeah, but everybody's suffering because we're playing the best soccer of the year up against the NFL.
And bad cold weather.
And just, I mean, okay, go a little bit American here, okay? Right? Go a little bit American. Just adopt what the NFL does.
Again,
Your
we said
top
this.
seeded team gets the home field advantage all the way through. So the New York Red Bulls here should have gotten the home field advantage all the way through. They were the most points of the entire.
But we said
league.
it. This is a weird
And just do
mix.
one games
of
home field advantages.
It's a weird mix of doing Europe and American.
Right.
And if you can
They're not making up their minds.
if Americans like playoffs, which they do, they understand
Playoffs.
it. Just do the playoffs, man.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Win or go the hell home.
Yeah.
That's it. Why are we dragging this the hell on?
And we talked about this. We're not going to rehash it completely, but if that's what you're going to do it consistently throughout the entire playoffs. Don't go half in on the first game.
Right. Yes.
And then the next two legs are this, and then the final is just this. It's,
Right.
Wait, what? Because then we go to the home field advantage in the final. Let's just. What?
Yeah, right. And then do away goals count in this leg? No, they do in the other leg, but not in this. Oh my God. Stab me in the face.
Yeah.
The MLS is destroying their postseason.
Yeah. Yeah. At this rate, I would just be fine to drop it and do it like Premier League. I just, yeah.
Premier League.
It also, just no playoffs. That's what I'm saying. Like, just top points.
Yeah.
True. So the playoffs, would have actually led for an exciting last 3 weeks of the MLS if you did it that way.
Yeah.
If it was just like,
Right. And now everybody's like, when is this going to end?
So here's another reason. And it can go several ways, of course, that makes it exciting. But this is where these legs make it weird. Our first game, Atlanta United against the New York Red Bulls at home in Atlanta. We should state 80,000. How many was that? It was crazy.
It was rocking, man.
That game, that was awesome. Those people, as they have the whole season long, filling that stadium. It was awesome. But they win 3-0 over the Red Bulls. So going into the second leg,
Which right now at halftime of that second leg, because it's taking place right now, it's 0-0.
do you know what Americans won't like who are trying to get into soccer that know the other American sports? Watching the next game and going, hey, the New York Red Bulls won 1-0. Oh, but they lost.
Right.
Because the other, I get it. I know that we understand it because we follow soccer from all over.
Right, but so then is
What do you
Atlanta
think?
going to have to play 2 games in the finals?
Or
No, because they just play one.
The finals one. That's what if the final was at least a 2 out of 3. Not that I want that, but you know what I'm saying?
At least consistent.
It would be
Like,
consistent.
right.
It's the inconsistency. Atlanta United, though, destroys the Red Bulls 3-0. It is going to be real hard for the Red Bulls.
They're going to do at home in Atlanta.
Sure.
So, like, that's kind of, right. It's kind of, if New York, like, I get it, because usually that team that won the most will have that advantage in the second leg to get themselves back out of a hole. Okay, well, yes, to an extent, but now New York's in a situation where they have to go to one of the toughest places to play in the league now, although they were the number 1 point goers in the Eastern Conference Final
Should've
and the
been a
whole
home
league,
right?
Or they just Eastern Conference.
In the NFL, this would have been a home game in New York.
And now they're in a 3-0 hole.
Yeah.
And that's no matter if you're going home or not, that's a tough hole to come out of. So,
because you need to not only overcome that, you got to keep Atlanta from scoring, which is a very hard
right. And right now they're doing, but it's 0-0. They need 3 goals in the second half to even get to extra time, I think, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
4 to win the entire thing against Atlanta. And yes, Atlanta, we're second in the East, so I get it, but it seems it's so inconsistent and just doesn't make a whole lot of sense in terms of what your mind, especially in the States, thinks of playoffs.
Because what we do here, right?
Playoffs.
We try to get our friends and stuff into soccer, and they watch some of the World Cup. They started getting into it. But then you get to this, and it's just a mess. I don't know. I know we've talked about it before, but I don't really. To me, the Red Bulls are done. They're not going to get 4 goals
Yeah,
to
probably
0
not.
against Atlanta. They're not going to get 3-0. It's probably going to be if they win, it'll be like 3-2 or something. So it doesn't matter. I think they're toast.
Yeah, right now it would certainly seem that way, and it's yeah, you just wanted. I mean, I don't know. Yes, New York should have played better, and yada yada yada, but it seems odd. And New York will probably, right now they could bow out if all the things and the way that they currently are.
And it's happened more than a few times where the Shield winners are not who go on to win who win the league. On the other side of things for MLS, we got the Portland Timbers at home against Sporting KC with a big old 0-0 in the first leg. So
in Portland too. So
that's
good result for Sporting KC.
Yep.
Yeah, and that game's tonight as well, as we currently pod on the 29th on a Thursday here in November. That's on 9:30, I believe, on one of the ESPN channels. So who knows if Portland can get an early goal and get that away goal, right? They away goals count in this, or am I wrong on that? Maybe they count in this?
I don't think they count in this.
I don't think they count.
Nobody knows.
Unless there's a draw.
Yeah,
Perfectly.
I just don't see Portland or Sporting KC beating Atlanta United or the Red Bulls.
I think Sporting KC probably has the best chance, but I agree with you. I don't think they have what it takes to do it. But I think if anybody can, it's going to be Sporting KC.
Well, and am I wrong in thinking this, that if Atlanta goes through,
Yes.
which right now they will, probably, if Atlanta goes through and Portland or Sporting KC goes through, the game will be played in Atlanta? Because Atlanta had more points than either of those teams in the...
I think that is correct.
Maybe.
I mean, a final in Atlanta
Again,
would be rocking that city. That would be...
We're going back to the two single games, so Lord only knows what the hell
exactly
is taking place. What a mess. Like, it's... And like the MLS, it's prolonged a little bit more this year because of international breaks and the World Cup. So it not entirely bad, but you could be coming out of the international break right here and going into the finals, right? Come out of the international break and you've given your teams 3 weeks, 2 weeks, or whatever, and just go into a finals game on a Friday night or a Sunday night or whatever it is. But now we're playing the conference final games, 2 of them, and then the finals. It's ridiculous.
So here's an interesting...
I wouldn't feel any different if Orlando City was sitting
absolutely.
in this place.
The setup
it would just be like, all right, can we just end the season? Like, win, lose it. Let's just, come on.
Here's a quick, interesting stat. How many days in total do you think the English Premier League is from the start day to the finish day?
So what?
Not match days, meaning
740.
Total. What?
I know.
Total days in between.
Well, let's see. You start in August and you go through May.
230.
192.
Oh,
okay.
wow.
You weren't too far off.
How many do you think is the MLS?
210.
230.
280.
Wait, you're not serious, are you?
I am 100%
So you're
serious.
telling
Was
me
that just this year, though?
March 3rd through
So,
December
yeah,
8th.
it was just this.
yeah, but still, that's a lot.
Yeah, the World Cup extended it, where the Premier League doesn't have to deal with the World Cup, and nor do they do a break in the center like a lot of leagues do.
So you can tell me if the MLS adopted the FIFA calendar, we wouldn't be dealing with this.
In this particular case, yes.
And I think, you know why else I think it'd be good? Can you imagine, like, in the springtime, summer, leading into that, it's Soccer Sunday where you start Premier League in the morning and finish with MLS in the evening?
But that wouldn't be the case here because everybody goes to NFL in the afternoon. Well, at least on the East Coast.
Not in May when the
May.
season's ending. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you were on the international schedule, what did you say? 280?
280. The World Cup break.
Wow, almost 100 more.
Just so you know, the World Cup break was only 30 days.
We didn't break the whole time, right?
Right, so
And
even if you do
MLS
that,
didn't break the entire time.
Right.
So that's still a
you knock it down to
tremendous about.
250. That's
That's it's 250.
60 additional. That's 2 more months of games.
Yeah.
That's
I was not expecting
too long. That's too long.
that.
So the final is December 8th.
Sure.
So you have, the final for the MLS,
Sure.
December 8th. So you basically have a half of that month, January, February, and you're playing in March.
And here, you want to get better players from across the world to join the league? I look at that schedule, and I look at playing at a smaller league in Italy or something. I'm like, I'd rather do that. Like, why would you want to do this?
Well, I mean, in a little bit of fairness,
I mean, it's only people going
you would
there.
have all for the holidays essentially for the MLS. Most of them,
Yeah.
you know.
Most,
Where in other,
But you're probably not used to
like
that.
in the German league and Spanish leagues, they take
You
a
do
break
take
during
a
the
break.
holidays.
Just
where
Premier
the
League.
Premier League is it's more of
And
tradition now with the
the
Premier League. You play on
clubs
Boxing Day, you play on throughout the
pushing.
holidays.
They want to push back against it, but I don't think the TV rights of the Premier League will let them.
Right. I don't know why the TV
yeah.
rights would even let that go. Yeah, it's good for them. I mean, and it's good for us. We can sit there on Boxing Day and New Year's Day and watch multiple games back to back to back to back to back.
That's true. But it just goes to show you how much more is going on in the MLS. And I didn't look how many days the total days the playoffs are, but the playoffs are adding a ton of time.
Yeah. And again, we also broke for an international break in this too, but again, the MLS always doesn't break for international breaks. So now we're doing it like, again, the inconsistency here is driving me nuts.
It's a short drive.
Well, that's the thing. It is the inconsistency. Knowing how they're going to operate is a crapshoot of a guess. It's so frustrating.
We haven't even touched what we were talking about on the targeted allocated money, normally allocated money. You have some allocated money. You have no allocated money, but everybody has money.
Well, and the only last thing I'll say, because we need to wrap up, is speaking of MLS, there may be a new United States men's national team coach that officially gets announced soon.
Possibly.
From Columbus.
Greg Berhalter. Yeah, could be.
Can I get a quick take? Does that excite you or not?
Well, that silence speaks amazingly.
I think it doesn't necessarily excite me on name power. It excites me that we took our time doing this.
All right. Ron, what about you?
I am... I'm pretty much indifferent. I really don't think... I think it's just more of the same.
Here's where it sucks. It's what Ron just said.
It's more of the same.
We're not
the
moving
American
forward.
Okay.
We're not... Well,
okay, but we didn't do that with Jurgen. We went outside of the realm of what we have been doing.
But I would argue the men's team, not at the end, but did make a step forward under Jurgen. But then this was a Wenger situation, right? It went bad in the end. But there was a push forward, right? Getting some of those young players from Germany or the Americans are playing in Germany stuff.
Maybe you could argue that, but under a majority of Jurgen's time, he didn't make the World Cup. Like if you've got, he started the World Cup run.
No.
Bruce didn't. So like in the end, it did let us more into the ground, and we've been in the darkest place of U.S. soccer history. This is
so
or whatever
unexciting.
Right.
Unexciting is not a bad thing, though.
I think what most people are going is they're going like this. Who?
Yeah.
Well, if you're a fan of U.S. soccer, odds are you follow an MLS team. So Greg Berhalter in the MLS is a very well known name.
Sure, but for people who are only follow the men's national team,
yeah, But I do like that the time was taken. Now, whether that time was taken because we needed to wait until, or we being the U.S. Soccer Federation needed to wait to
we took forever, and they found the guy just down the street from Chicago where they train at over in Columbus.
I think what probably happened, and where I was getting to it is they waited until the season for Columbus was done, and that's when we're now seeing a lot of action. So, it may not have been somebody that we took our time to figure out. Who knows? This may have been figured out months ago, but now the season's finally end. This is the right time to announce it. So that could be it too.
To me, this is different than when they announced Bruce Arena again. I was like,
time is going to tell.
Going back to the.
Well, listen, as long as we qualify for the next World Cup, it's already a positive. That's up. So then
right. I mean, the bar is so low.
Right.
To be honest,
it can't really go any lower.
Worse.
Right.
Well, it could. Oh man.
Yeah, my mentality is the crowd goes mild.
Yeah, we'll see when the official announcement gets broken if what the reactions are. But
and more on the home front for us, anyways, here in Orlando. The club announced the parting of ways of our GM, Niko Bulukalak.
Who cares? He's gone.
And then pretty much as Ron put it, just burn it down and then start off an entire new back line.
I'm okay with that.
I think you have to be after the league's worst goal difference this past year, including what started off of the year as probably the most popular player on the team.
Joe Bendick.
He gone.
Yep.
Don't let the door hit you or the good Lord split you.
Oh, man.
And I would not say that to his face because he would whip my ass. If he was...
it's time to hop off.
Dad joke?
If you follow us on Twitter, Brewtiful Game, go to our website, www.brewtifulgame.com. Follow us on Untapped. Leave us a rating and review on wherever you listen to your podcast. Give us a screenshot of that. We'll get something fun out in the mail to you. And then I think I'm not ending the pod with the dad joke. I think
I've
Ron
got
is.
one.
Here we go.
He's wearing like a sweater vest today. Like it's a very dad attire.
There is no. What do you mean a vest?
I don't know. It just looked.
It's not a sweater vest.
It's a jumper, as they say in the
It's not a
UK.
vest.
Shut your mouths. Why should you never fight a dinosaur?
I don't know why.
You'll get your ass kicked. You're welcome.
Boom. And on that, love the beer, cherish the game, the Brewtiful Game.
What are they keeping there, King Kong?
That was a pretty good one.